afternoon. Well, actually, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being so prompt for the Motor Vehicles and Transportation Subcommittee. We have a number of bills to take up this evening. We are going to start with House Bill 107. You all have gotten the reprint of this bill. We worked on this bill according to the conversation that we had last week. And I am going to try to bring it up. So Patrick, you can, would you mind walking us through where we are?
Sure. Can everyone hear me? Okay. First of all, I think we discussed this bill a couple of weeks ago, and I think the subcommittee were generally on the same page to kind of narrow the focus of the bill to what the original intent in Baltimore City was, which was to keep the bus lines clear. So these are the amendments to the bill. Let me say to begin that we received this bill as a pre-file, during which the cross-file in the Senate was continued to be worked on. So we were given a bunch of amendments at the hearing that were meant to bring it in line with the Senate, but didn't quite do that. So we worked, for the subcommittee's direction, and brought this bill with the amendments or the changes that the Senate made with the direction of the subcommittee, and this is the product. The bill with the amendments does not apply to ramps, bus stops, except if they're in the dedicated bus lanes, double parking or bike lanes. It allows cameras on buses, which I think was allowed previously anyway. Expands it statewide to include WMATA and other local, well, that's a regional, but WMATA and local transit systems. And it strikes the work group at the end on curb space management. The issues we have with work groups, and there's nothing stopping them from continuing to study that. Then clarifies that. I think that's pretty much it. The one question I think we have outstanding, based on the chair's bill that we heard today, is what to do with the privacy language in this bill.
Thank you, Patrick. So there's that, and then I have one more thought that I want to raise with the subcommittee, and that is in this bill, and if I can find my notes, that would be fantastic. The penalty is 75, Patrick?
This one's 75, correct?
This one's 75. In the HB 212, the noise camera, the fine is 70. So I think that we should align the two. And so that's on the table as well. Yes, Chair Healy.
Just the stoplight cameras, I think, are 75. I don't know if there's anything. I don't think there's anything else that's actually 70 right now.
Okay. That's important. Thank you.
Okay.
Where did I have my notes? Okay, so does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments on the bill as amended? Yes, Delegate Davis.
Yes, the privacy issue is going to be a big deal for me. You and I have already discussed it. It's going to be a really big deal for me. I wonder how we're going to address it.
So my thought would be, let's go forward with the privacy in this bill. Hopefully we will move my bill forward. It needs some amendments. And then if both bills make it over the finish line, maybe next year we do some cleanup. But since we don't know if both bills are going to pass over the finish line, I don't want to have the privacy protections not there. Like, I don't want to strip them out of this bill in the hopes that my bill passes and then mine doesn't and this does, and it doesn't have privacy protections. So that's just my preference for the sake of caution and making sure we have them.
And for the record, I believe your bill does not address the bus cameras.
No, but it does. because they're not in
Because
code,
we knew
right?
this language was here.
Right, and because they're not in code yet. But I think we do have, we are gonna put a catch-all language. So maybe next year, if both of them pass, we can strike it from here and put it in the other one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that address your privacy concerns, Delegate Davis?
It does not.
Okay.
And it appears as though when you start negotiating with chiefs and sheriffs, they're going to make a great case for how they need it as a tool to watch us all on all of our streets. And I am going to have a problem with it.
Yes, ma'am, I agree 100%. So I think there's other language that we have in other camera bills that is that's pretty tight that we can use. I have no intention of, creating a huge loophole in my bill. But I think that, with a subpoena and then still keeping really tight reins on retention and destruction, I think that's where I'm willing to go. But I have to look at their language and talk to them. But I hear you, Delegate Davis. Trust me, I hear you.
And this bill has the language, the privacy language on page 4 of 11, the new language under line 17.
Yes. May not be used for any other purpose without a warrant, subpoena, or court order. I think that's the language I'm going to adopt. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on the bill as amended? Is there a motion for the amendments?
I would like to move them.
Thank you. Is
I'll
there a
second that. I'll second it.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Yes, Delegate Morgan.
Thank you. Real quick. Is this enabling legislation?
It is.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Seeing no further discussion on House Bill 107 as amended. All in favor, say aye. Raise your
Aye.
hand. Any opposed? Delegate Davis, Delegate Jacobs. Okay, bill passes. Thank you all. Moving on to HB 212. This is the noise camera bill. This has also been amended. So let's see if I can bring that one up as well. While I'm looking for it, Patrick, you want to start talking about that?
Sure. This is the as the chair said, this is the bill that authorizes the noise camera monitoring systems in 3 counties, Montgomery, Prince George's, and Anne Arundel. The amendments look extensive, but the bulk of them, in fact, I think all of them pretty much just make it a pilot program subject to, I think, a 2-year sunset. 2 years. And then requires a report and limits all 3 counties to two noise abatement monitoring systems. So they can't put them all over the county. They can have 2.
I have a question.
Yes, Chair Healy, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, Anne Arundel is a lot. I mean, Prince George's County is 500 square miles. That's a whole lot of territory for only 2 of these. 3, I'd be happy with 3. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Delegate Stewart.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. That was the same subject of my question, but a little bit of different angle, which is that my understanding from our conversation last week was that it would be 2 cameras per jurisdiction within the 3 counties. Am I wrong about that? In other words, Rockville City would have 2, Gaithersburg would have 2, Tacoma Park would have 2, non-incorporated Montgomery County would have 2, et cetera, or is that not right?
Patrick?
That's not my understanding.
Okay.
See, this is a pilot program to see how the system works. In fact, let me tell you what we've got for what they're required to report. And again, this is only 2 years. 3 years out, this would probably look different, much different. They report to the governor and the General Assembly on through October 1st, 2025, the time period during which the systems were in use, the number of warnings and citations issued as a result of violations, by location and date, the costs associated with implementing and operating the systems, revenue collected on a monthly basis as a result of violations recorded, appropriate locations for the deployment of the systems, the performance and reliability of the systems, and the effectiveness of the systems in reducing noise produced by motor vehicles and in the areas where the systems were used. So this is a test, really, not really trying to be the end product.
Where did these amendments come from? Are they the Senate amendments or is it some? a group?
No,
No,
no. There was discussions. Gosh, Patrick, we had a lot of discussions, I think, including,
well, there was discussion to make it a pilot program, and it
Right.
could have been misunderstood, but to use 2 cameras.
I thought we had discussions about limiting it here. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, it was
Chair Healy,
certainly
I'm not
limiting
sure
the
where
scope.
I'm not sure where all of the conversations went.
'Cause
And
I
like I
mean,
said, these amendments look more extensive than they are. Just had to rework the bill with the 2 cameras in the pilot program.
Right.
I'm very happy with the pilot program, but I think that 2 cameras is very small number. If it were as Delegate Vaughn was suggesting, because I have 7 municipalities in my own district, and we have 27 of them in Prince George's County. So that would be fine if it was each jurisdiction had the opportunity. But if not, 2 just seems like a small number to get actual data, because it's going to be different from if they're put in different kind of neighborhoods.
Okay. Other thoughts? No? So is the subcommittee comfortable with 3? Do you want to stay with 2? Where are we? Delegate Stewart.
I'm comfortable with 3. I mean, I think the reality is we also have to recognize that we have a Senate partner here, and like because they haven't passed a bill out and because they tend to weaken things we do, it might not hurt if we put in 3, it may end up being 1 or 2. So just something to think about as well.
Okay. Anyone else?
I move 3.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of 3, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 3 cameras it is. Any other discussion on the other amendments on HB 212? We call it a pilot program. Let's see, we clarify that it's got to be over at least 5 decibels of what's allowed. What else do we do? Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yes,
Are we
there's
good?
One more
Yeah.
thing. There's one more thing that we
Yes.
talked about. It was the bill gives 2 weeks, 14 days to mail out the citations. And so if you have a monitoring system on the same street, theoretically a guy with a 86 decibel muffler could drive by 10 times going back and forth to work. before even ever getting notice of having a problem.
Right, did we fix that?
I
Did we
don't
put
know
in-
exactly how to fix that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Maybe we have a phase in, like the first 30 days, you get warnings, notices. And then after that, you start getting action tickets.
We do have 15 days for that in new
Okay.
locations, which does significantly address that issue. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay,
But that's new location. So if they move it back to the same location, it could be a different thing. But theoretically, that person would have been exposed to them too.
right.
and there'll be signage?
There's always signage. There should be.
Always signage, yeah. Let's take a look at where that is. I mean, do we want to say something about 1 ticket a day?
There
or
is
something-
signage.
Something like that, so we don't unintentionally get the person who's going to work, coming back, going to run errands, coming back, and get them a dozen times in one day, and then they don't get the ticket for another 14 days. Thoughts on how to handle that?
You could say for the first 30 days at a location, only 1 ticket may be issued, something like that.
1 ticket per day?
Well, 1 ticket per day could be 10 tickets, just going.
Oh, that's true.
back
Okay,
and forth to
never
work.
mind. I would do that.
I'd be comfortable with that, Patrick. What about other folks? Come on, folks. I need you here.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Go with it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any other comments, questions on the amendments for
Can I
HB
make-
two? So, yes, please,
Can I put
Patrick, go right ahead.
One more thing. I almost forgot about this. But this amendment, I incorporated in these amendments, came from the sponsor to give a tolerance of 5 decibels. So the state law is 80 decibels. And she's saying, that you have to be recorded at over 85.
Similar to
yeah.
what we do with speed cameras.
I
Exactly.
give a
agree with
little-
that.
Yeah, thank you for raising that. Okay, so is there a motion for the amendments, including the one we just discussed?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion on HB 212 as amended? 3 cameras, the 30-day period we just talked about, and then the other provisions in the bill. Okay, on the bill on the amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the amendments pass.
Move favorable on the bill.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on HB 212 as amended? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Any opposed? Delegate Morgan, Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Davis. Okay, bill passes. Thank you all. Next, we are going to move to HB 513. This is the work zone speed control systems. Patrick, you want to run us through?
I
Oh,
have to run
Delegate Morgan.
WCM.
Okay,
I have
do you
to run
want us to,
WCM.
do you want us to hold this?
I think it's probably a good idea if you don't mind. I
We'll
hope they'll
come
be
back
done
to it.
quick. Hopefully
Okay,
they'll be
we'll
done
come back
fast
to it.
quick. Thanks.
Great, we'll come back to it. Let's move to HB 732, vehicle laws, lighting privately owned vehicles. Patrick, will you walk us through this, please?
Yes. Did you get my chart?
I did. I'm about to share it.
Okay.
There we
Okay,
go.
this is a slightly different than the bill we passed last year. It authorizes, current law is red, and then it authorizes red or white lights for the 5 selected members of a volunteer fire company, usually the chief and the higher ups. And then
Folks, can I interrupt for a second? I just got a text that we are on lockdown and everyone needs to be away from the windows. So if you are near a window, please move.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I
Heard
don't know
about
what
the
that's
lockdown.
about.
Thank you.
We're
That's
on-
why I had my hand up. I've known about, that's why
Okay.
I was late. It's been going on for a little while.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. My chief of staff has been texting me.
A
and
current,
so
and just so
I'm
y'all
actually gonna
know,
move, so.
the newest information is that police are actually sweeping our building right now, and we are not to leave our offices.
Okay.
Okay,
And I don't
everybody
know
lock your
anything other than
doors.
that, but it's a little scary.
Yep, everybody lock your doors, please.
Do we know
Mhm.
anything more than that?
There are police outside the state house with guns running around. I know that, but other than that, apparently they're looking for someone and they are looking in our building right now. So don't leave your office. Lock your
Mike?
doors.
Okay.
Mike, go ahead. You have your hand raised.
Sure. The executive protection units told us that there was someone that made a threat to shoot anyone that kind of exited the state house. So that's why they're making these security measures. So
What did they say?
that there was an individual that made a threat to called into Annapolis PD and threatened to shoot anyone that stepped outside of the state house.
Oh,
So
God.
that's why they're asking us to kind of move away from the windows, to stay inside, lock our doors. They're doing the same thing for the state house, as well as kind of the House and Senate complexes.
Oh,
Got it.
If you're on the
nice.
second
Okay.
floor, are you okay? 'Cause
Yes, we are okay. So thank you.
Politics are
guys.
fun.
Yes, they are.
Okay,
Give me one
well,
second.
thank you, everyone. I'm sorry. Or just we can close the door. Thank you, Emily. Okay, everybody all right?
Yeah, I just gotta grab my papers.
Okay, do we have everybody?
Yes, sorry.
All right. Patrick made this fantastic chart. So Patrick, you want to talk us through HB 732, please?
yeah, 782, I believe.
I'm sorry, yes.
This is the bill. Again, we had it last year. It authorizes red or white lights on the leadership, basically, of volunteer fire companies in addition to just red. And it authorizes red or white, which was last year's bill, and red and green lights on for fire police, for volunteer fire companies. They're the ones that volunteer, come in when they're called and direct traffic around the emergency situation. With the addition of the red and green, this bill passed the House last year.
Anybody have any questions? And if you're curious what the other lights are that other people have, it's right there.
And if
So what are we
anybody
supposed to
knows
do
what
with
this
these?
taxi thing is, you can tell me.
Delegate Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify what Patrick just said. He said something about red and green last year, but the red and green is
Red-
this year.
Correct. Red and green is new this year. Otherwise, the
Right.
bill is the same.
So all this bill is doing is adding red and green to the red and white.
Correct.
Thank you.
Delegate Davis.
I don't follow. They're adding red and green to the red and white?
Well, okay, last year's bill had red and white for the volunteer fire company leadership and for the fire police. This year's bill is the same as that, plus the red and green.
So they could
For the-
use
for the-
red and
for the
white
fire
or, sorry, they could use red and white or red and green.
For the fire police, correct.
Delegate Davis.
I'm still not following Patrick. So they want to use both sets of lights?
Either.
Wouldn't it make sense to use the same?
I don't know, I guess it depends on county. Not every county has fire police. But
Okay, well, one last question. This is only while they're at a full stop at a scene, right?
correct.
Thank you.
Delegate Gayton, you still have your hand up.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I was actually texting you. We happen to have 5 pages of the high school pages in our office right now, and they're really a little bit nervous. I might have to step off. That's why I'm back and forth.
That's fine.
Yeah, because we won't let them out. So I
That's
was texting,
fine.
I did not mean to have my hand up. I was trying to text it, but since I did, I will say that I'm going to leave you on, but I'll be back and forth, make sure everybody's okay.
Yep, thank you. Can you put your hand down before you go? Thank you. Delegate Jacobs.
All right, this addition of red and green is really sort of like the bill I did a couple years ago, which was green and amber. On emergency vehicles. It's not a mandatory thing, and like state highway, if you see some of those trucks now, a lot of them have green and amber, but some of them still have just amber, and I think you can use either one, but I think they're transitioning over because there's a little bit higher percentage of safety factor in going with these colors. So I know they're saying you can use red and white or green and red, but I think they'll probably phase over eventually, but it's an either or. It's just adding the red and green with the what was red and white last year. Isn't that right, Patrick?
Yes. And
Okay.
these aren't for identification purposes. They're for
No,
visibility.
there's safety. Yeah, there's safety issues. I understand. I'm good with it. I'll make a motion to pass it as written.
Is there a second? Delegate Davis?
Yeah, I couldn't turn off the mute quick enough. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of HB 782, please raise your hand. Okay, anybody opposed? Thank you. Delegate Healy, did you have a comment?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I
Okay.
didn't-
All right, 782 passes. Yes, Delegate Davis.
I just saw something. Where the heck did Todd think he was going?
Going to Economic Matters.
But everything's on shutdown.
That was before we knew. So he
Uh,
may be stuck in Economic Matters.
So how are we going to get notified? I wouldn't have known about this at all if we weren't on this. Because my
Well, I
staff's
think
gone home. My staff's gone home. I don't have anybody here but me.
We'll
Trish
keep you
told us.
posted, Dave.
Trish sent the email
Trish-
out.
Yeah.
Trish, yes, I saw an email from Trish, but yeah, I know an email is kind of a slower.
Well,
And I'm
and
on
kind
my
of hard.
phone because the whole city of
Now
Baltimore
everybody.
is texting because it's
Mhm.
on our news that we're on a lockdown.
Oh, it's on the news? Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Call your mothers and your spouses. That's what I did.
Oh, my goodness.
I gotta find my
Okay.
phone.
Okay, well, let's keep moving. HB 840, Vehicle Laws Annual Vehicle Shows. Patrick?
I'm gonna look for my phone.
Sorry, my family just found out we were on lockdown, so I had to talk to them.
Here we
Right.
go. Text your family and then you can walk us through the bill.
Okay, now this is the lighting bill. We just passed that. Here we go. Okay. This is a statewide bill, as opposed to the local bill we heard today. And this bill is very straightforward, especially compared to last year's. It simply repeals the limitation on annual shows for motorhomes and trailers. Current law says that they can participate in more than 2 if the shows are limited to motorhomes and trailers. Now, under the current law, they would be unlimited no matter what type of show it is.
Yes, Delegate Guyton.
Kids in my office won't let me talk very loud because they say we're not supposed to do that because they've all been through the training. But I believe, is this the bill that Bruce Veriano keeps saying he's gonna get a letter for me about this bill and he hasn't done it yet? I'm just asking, is he on?
He is not on, but yes, it is the bill that he said he was going to get you a letter on.
I would love to have the letter before I vote on this bill that might absolutely hurt my district. Or not.
That is
I don't
fair.
know.
That is fair. Would you like to hold the bill?
Yes, please.
Okay. we shall hold it. Okay, so HB 1032 has been taken off today's list. So the only thing that's left is the administration bill, and I know Delegate Morgan wanted to be a part of this, but let's start our conversation. Patrick, lead us off, sir.
Well, it starts with a question to you as to what we want to discuss.
You know what? I'm sorry, can we stop for 1 second? When we discussed noise abatement, did we discuss the penalties?
No.
Okay, I forgot. I'm sorry, everyone. Can we go back to HB 212, the noise abatement? Remember when we were talking about 107, the bus line obstruction, I said it would be good to align the penalties. So bus lane obstruction has 75. Delegate Healy reminded us that red light cameras have 75. HB 212 came in at 70, and I think we should align it to 75.
I agree.
What votes? Great. So, motion on the floor?
Move 75.
Second.
Second. Great. All those in favor of amending HB 212 to have $75 penalty to align it with 107 and red light cameras? Chair Healy, you have your hand up.
No, I don't mean to.
Okay.
Sorry.
All those in favor of that amendment, please say aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, that amendment passes. Okay, let's go back to the administration bill. So there have been some amendments to it based on conversations that we have had and that the administration gave us. Patrick, oops. Do you want to walk through the amendments?
That we have ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with a clarification. And there's a certain part of the current law that indicates that local jurisdictions can do work zone speed cameras. And there's a certain part that doesn't mention it that should. So it clarifies that and clearly authorizes local jurisdictions to use the work zone cameras. And then clarifies that if the fine is paid by mail, that it is mailed to the local jurisdiction. That's an amendment from the administration. And then the other big administration amendment is to repeal the restriction that work zone speed control systems have to be used on an expressway or a controlled access highway, meaning that they could be used on, county roads. There's 45 miles an hour still applies, but it doesn't have to be an expressway with limited entry, controlled access, and the like. But these two provisions pretty much kept local jurisdictions from using the work zone speed cameras. So if they have local work zones and they're over 45, they can use them. And then there's some additional amendments that have been worked on to and in the language that talks about not more than one citation in a 1 hour period, I'll read it to you how it's been reworked. If a work zone has more than one work zone speed control system in use, not more than one citation may be issued for the same registration plate for violations that occurred within a 1 hour period in the work zone. I think that's a little clearer. I think there was sort of a thought that was not as clear as it could be. And then we have changed the penalties. Let me see if I can find the right paper here. Yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. We propose to change the penalties. This is discussions between the leadership of the committee and the executive branch, to civil penalties for a first offense not exceeding, in a calendar year, not exceeding 100, for a second offense in a calendar year not exceeding 250, for a third and subsequent offense in a calendar year not exceeding 500. And then striking the delayed effective date of the increase. So that would start immediately, although practically that might not be possible. And then I think I'm missing something here.
Didn't we also do the Wyville amendment?
Yes, that's one of them, requiring not just the signage, but the
Real-time
real-time posting of the speed the driver's traveling at proximate to the signage. And then also allowing funding to be distributed to highway and work zone safety, that's in the bill, and state highway administration system preservation. Now, not all the kinks have been worked out on this, though. I don't think it's ready for voting. And that nobody's seen the amendment.
Okay. So any discussion as of right now? Any questions? Yes, Delegate Jacobs.
All right, say Patrick, when you said 100, 250, and 500, I believe was in a calendar year,
Correct.
can you clarify what that means?
January 1st to December 31st.
So you're only going to get one fine?
If you get a citation and you're found liable on say June 1st, and you get another one on June 15th, first one will be 100, second one will be 250.
Right. Suppose you get 6.
The third and subsequent is 250. And you're bringing up another question that is not answered in this.
No, Patrick, it's 100, 250, 500.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said 250.
That is correct. It's 100, 250, 500.
So everyone from 3 on is 500
Correct.
Correct. In a calendar year.
in a calendar year.
Correct.
And then you start over again the following calendar year?
Correct.
Hopefully you learned your lesson and you won't.
You guys never had drivers in your trucks, have you? All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question. I have a couple questions, actually.
Okay.
One is about, I mean, we've always had these, where you don't see the person's face, it's only on the license plate.
Correct.
And the ticket goes to the owner of the vehicle. And, this is really, and that's why it's always been a low cost thing, because people would just pay it and they'd change their behavior, but they wouldn't go to court and all of those things. But we're up in the ante a lot on this. And so I guess maybe it should go to the actual driver and not the owner of the vehicle, but I don't know how you do that.
Problem with that, Delegate Healy, is you would have to be running facial recognition on these people and a lot more cameras.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yep.
Your technical problem. I can't hear what you're saying.
Sorry, can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
no, you were
Okay,
frozen.
Now I can,
Sorry about that. The challenge with that is that you would have to have a lot more cameras and you would have to run facial recognition. And the administration has thought about that and said that's not where they want to go with this bill.
Okay, I just wanted to raise it as a question. Thank you.
Yep, and they thought about it. Yep. Delegate Ziegler.
Actually, sorry, I was gonna lower my hand. Yeah, I think I agree with what the administration did. I don't lend your card to somebody irresponsible.
Good point.
Saw a bill about that today.
Oh, really?
Yes, we did.
Uh,
Okay, any further questions or comments? As Patrick said, we've still got to work out some kinks, so we will get you all the amendments for voting on this next week. We've got a big load. Well, let me close this one out. Do we have any other questions or comments on 513?
I have another question.
Yeah, sure.
Basically, I want to see if we can relate it somehow to the bill we heard from Delegate Valderrama today, where they also want to up the costs on Indian Head Highway. Just if we're going to do this, maybe we could align the amounts of the tickets and all that stuff when we get to that other bill. That's, I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, thank you for putting that out there. Okay, well, seeing no further comments on 513, that's it for what we have on our agenda. We're getting done earlier than we have before and earlier than we will from now on. Just a flag for you folks, we will probably start doing double duty soon because we've got a lot of bills that we have to work through. So stay tuned. Thank you all. Be safe. Do not leave until we hear the all clear.
Yeah, has
So
anyone
Morgan-
heard anything?
This
How are we
to
gonna hear it
retrieve the
all clear?
pages.
Hang on,
Well-
1 second at a time. Delegate Guyton.
Oh, I'm sorry. Morgan just came into our office because they escorted the pages that were here out. Those poor kids, they were telling us how to do this. But he said it was not safe and we must stay in and do not leave your office and stay away from the windows, Patrick.
Yep, we're still on a shelter in
Because there
place.
is apparently someone who's armed out there. So, or they believe there is.
So how do they let us know? Like, how will we know?
Well, keep your email, check your email. That's how we
Trish will
got her.
probably email us.
I'm
Okay.
getting texts from a million and the news is covering it too, so I don't know.
Yep.
We'll figure it out.
All right, Gretchen. Oh,
hey,
yes,
safe,
safe.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Safe.
Officers, staff,
Okay.
responsible for keeping all the legislatures secured in both areas. So just keep checking your email and whatnot. He gives that clear on the complex situation. You will get notifications from either.
Safe, we can't understand you. Okay, I think the bottom line is, folks, shelter in place until you get an all clear. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you all. Be
you.
safe. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.